Good afternoon and welcome back to Q News. My name is Michael James and we are back for another very special interview this afternoon. It is almost the end and we are at almost at the finale of RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under, which means we have to say goodbye to another one of our fabulous girls. Look at her, she's pining, she's so upset. We've lost a legend. The one and only Miss Beverly Kills. Hello, Beverly. How are you, darling?
Michael, look, I've had better days and I've given better head, but it's all good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Now, for everybody that's watching, we're in a fantastic place for our interview today with the North Kira Surf Club.
Very on brand. Love it.
I know. Perfect for you. I was on my way to Cairns and now I'm stuck here. So we're going to have a chat from here. Hopefully we have any special guests behind us. First things first. Beverly Kills. Fucking Murder on the Runway. What the fuck was that? That lip sync. That lip sync was for the gods.
It was so fun.
My
it
God.
Was so fun. It's funny because like people are like, "Oh, what do you remember from the lip sync?" I'm like, "I don't remember the lip syncs," because you like the like flight or fight kicks in, and you're like, "I just do it, I guess," and you just go, and everything, every thought in your brain just leaves. And all you hear is the lady over there go, "Good luck and don't fuck it up." And you're like, okay.
Well, it was top notch. And everybody always says like that last moment of the show, no one remembers. They just know I was on there and it was fucking do or die. And you and Kong, like there was 3 different moments where I thought you were about to like literally knock each other out. Someone was going to die. That was intense.
It was a battle of passion, you know.
There was every move. I don't think we've seen some of those moves done on Drag Race before. That's going to go down in the history books as one of the top lip syncs.
I did the first ever barrel roll, and I did the first ever illusion split. So we've both taken our little stunt queen titles, and we ran with it.
It was magnificent. I literally think I've said every single week, like the last 3 weeks, but we're going to get a double save. Thought we were going to get a double save. That should have been the fucking double save.
Oh, I would have loved a double save, but babe, like, you know, you're in the bottom 3 times, someone's going to go, and you're so close to the end as well. You know, it's such a tight race with the 4 now. And so as devastating as it was to leave, like, I think a double save might have like not made sense in the greater scheme of the universe. You know, I would have loved to have stayed, but I'm so happy with 5th. And I got out of everyone I got to battle with Queen Kong. Like, what a privilege. Like, so good.
Oh, it was amazing. And I suppose that was the whole episode started for us. We kicked off this one with you and Kong, I suppose, reconnecting, reuniting. Kong came in to sort of clear the air on how things had gone previously. How was that situation, I suppose, for the 2 of you before that and bringing that back together at the beginning of that episode?
Yeah, well, I think it's important to realize that, like, it's a high pressure environment with cameras on. We have been specifically cast with each other in mind, you know, like with these arguments and these moments of people butting heads, they're not accidents. Like they're made for your consumption, my beautiful viewers. But like, Michael, do you have brothers and sisters?
Oh yes, too many, far too many.
Have you ever, on the off chance, maybe had an argument with one of your brothers or sisters?
Oh, never, ever.
Me neither, you know, but like you fight with your siblings and then you build a bridge and get over it. And that's exactly what I think Kong and I did. And I think it goes to show the power of what loving what you do can do. We both love drag and we both went, you know what, we're here for a reason. We love each other. We're putting this shit aside and we're just going to focus on what's important, which is the competition. And now we're as tight as ever. Like, you know, we're headlining a Halloween show together, you know, and Halloween should be fun. So yeah, it's like just such a privilege to, obviously it sucked having that happen on the show, but it means that our relationship can go forward and just be really cool and exciting. And I think it also gives fans permission to understand that people are not perfect and people are insecure or flawed or angry, and that is fine. Like, it's part of life. And Kong and I both take blame for what happened. It's chill.
Yeah, I mean, all 100%. And what I love about your response there is the fucking maturity and the insight that you have, because I must raise the point again. You are 21. How very dare you to begin with, to be so talented at such a young age, but also to have that insight. How much was that, I suppose, that age factor between you and everybody else playing a factor in how you were approaching the program and how you felt about yourself?
What question. It's funny because when I got cast, I was like, there's no way that someone's young. Like, I've got to be the youngest here. Like, I think 21 was the limit to apply. And I was like, there's no way that someone's younger. Like, and then the whole time, I'm like, the whole time they're literally going to be like, just remember, Bev, you're the youngest. And I wasn't wrong. They did do that the whole time. The producers were like, just remember, like, you are the youngest. How do you feel about being the youngest? Is this a good thing, a bad thing? And it was sort of always in my ear with, you know, the way that the show went along. And I accepted that, and I sort of knew that was going to happen. And as much as I would try to not let it happen, it still would, because age absolutely determines how relationships go forward. And it's funny that Minnie and I we fundamentally disagreed on things purely because of our standpoints and morals on things because of our age. However, what we related the most on was our age, because we were segregated by I was 10 years difference when I got eliminated, and Minnie was 13 years different when she got eliminated. So like, we really now have bonded over that. And within, out of everyone, Minnie and I are the closest. Like, I've made some great relationships with these girls, but at this current moment, Minnie I'm closest with. I'm going to see her Sunday, so I'm very excited to see her. But I think when it comes to the maturity, it's drag forces you to learn those things. You have to have conflict resolution. I've absolutely had arguments with queens in Brisbane, and you then have to go do a show with them. And if you haven't had an argument with your co-workers, you're being delusional. You put the face on, you do the show, and you leave that shit behind, because drag is about queer, like extreme queer joy. And that's what we're here to do. So whenever you get held back by those sort of things, and as someone who is very like happily kind of confrontational, not confrontational, happily stands up for themselves, I'll say. I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, conflict resolution. You know, you have to do it.
Fantastic. Well, it's great to hear that, because again, yeah, we see so much drama that's just created by the show. And as you said, like, with that for a reason, they put in 10 people who got along. What the fuck are we going to watch for? We talked about relationships there, but I suppose the key thing in this episode was the relationship with you and with yourself. That was coming up in the work of, you, that other one right there.
What?
Which I found interesting, is in that untucked moment, I feel like you were getting Laganja'd, but I don't think you were being Laganja in that moment where we had her, have that breakdown in season 6. I thought we were seeing somebody who was a really, struggling with their identity. I thought, from my perspective, when we were watching you on the show, we were seeing somebody who was trying really hard, who was really self-confident, and who really just was a perfectionist trying to do well. I didn't see as if you were somebody that was struggling with their identity. And so I found, watching that moment where everybody was telling you didn't know who you were and those things, I found that kind of jarring from what I saw from you. So I'm just curious in your perspective as to how that gelled together for you.
It's interesting you say that. Like, I think what's happened now is that the fans are very self-aware of how the show works, right? So they can see what an edit might try to do, but the fans are all intelligent enough and aware of the show enough that they see that and they can see through it. And they go, oh, Bev's clearly just struggling with her identity, not her identity, but her confidence in if she deserves to be there. From, everyone I've spoken to today, every single person has said the same thing you have, which is that, like, it comes across that it's not hysteria. It's very easily understood that I just struggled with my self-worth. And I think the good thing about that is that I really hope that people can relate with that. I think that's the beautiful thing about Drag Race, is that it really humanizes us as drag artists. It shows that we've all got our own shit we deal with. I was a very, very stoic's not the right word, maybe walls up person on social media. I only really let people see one side of myself before Drag Race. And now that Drag Race is out, people have found that they've related to me a lot more because I've shown that side of myself. And I think it's a great thing. It was shit in the moment because I felt so vulnerable and I felt so excluded. But I look back on that kind of with fondness, and I'm like, oh, that's just a person who was just going through it and they figured it out. And yeah, I'm proud of myself for that moment.
No, and you should be. Like, everything you achieved on that show, including the moment, was great. It takes great strength to show vulnerability, and be able to do that on national television. Like, fuck, that's a lot. So take my hat off to you. Now, speaking of being proud as well, doing Brisbane Proud, how does it feel?
Brizzy!
The first Queensland, the first Brisbane girl, that's another weight on your shoulders as well, because fuck, the Brisbane drag scene. is just
Huge.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
and
mate.
for you to be in there, like being the representative of that, I mean, what was that like?
Yeah, I don't claim to be the representative. I claim to be a representative. But like
The first on the show representative,
sure.
I suppose. Yeah.
I think so. But yeah, it's there's just so much pride that's come with that. Like my denim runway, I'm so glad they kept it in because I was worried they wouldn't, but they kept in pieces of the denim look. I didn't have that much denim handy, and it was donated. I put out a very sly call on social media, and I was like, "Does anyone have any denim?" And a whole bunch of fans of drag, local, and I'm talking like local fans of drag. Like these are the OGs, and I love these people. All were like, "Yep, I've got a jacket for you. I've got some jeans. What are you using it for?" And I went, "A costume for New Year's Eve." And, it all got put together. So that was really, really special for me to get to do. I think on the show, it really shows that I'm letting the pressure of sort of representing Brisbane take over a bit. And I'm regretful that it did, but in the same way, I'm happy that it showed that people put pressure on themselves and it's normal. And all these drag queens, they all have a home city and a home bar that they go back to. And I did, for 6 months, I was still back at fucking Fluffy and representing Fluffy without the show. And you sort of have to go back to that. And I think that's one of the things I wish the show did, which is sort of show queens who they are out of the show. Because we all go back to our bars, and we all go back to our clubs and our residences and our performances and our gigs. And it was really, really cool that I got to represent Brisbane in that way. It was so special.
I love that that there was that special connection. I didn't feel like you were just banging the bell for Brisbane. You really made an effort to connect with and tell us about the fact that you wanted to showcase Brisbane. That was beautiful.
Totally. That's why I sort of came in with such like a punk rock.
No.
It was so important for me to represent such a big like punk rock scene, and people like are aware of it. But like historically, my partner is an ex-museum curator, and he's taught me so much about like Brisbane's history in terms of like the punk music movement. And it was really cool to like sort of represent Brisbane that way with like my promo look or my chains look. It was so cool.
Well, and speaking of those looks, by the way, a big shout out. I know that some, if not a lot of them, were done by the amazing Miss Mandy Moves at Hummingbirds.
Yes, they were.
Yes.
Yes, so all of my costumes were either made by Mandy Moves or Savannah Fry. So to Brisbane, like everything I did was by Brisbane. With my finale gown, it was painted by someone from Brisbane. I've got my wigs made by people from Brisbane. I was just so like repping Brisbane.
Gorgeous. Well, Brisbane was so lucky to have you on the show. So thank you so much for being that base. And hopefully we've got many more Brisbane queens to come now. We've opened the box.
I hope so too. I am a big, this is just essentially, me being on Drag Race is just a campaign for Mandy Moves to get on. So I think Mandy would kill the screen.
Yes, I've like been banging that drum now for about
the joke has always been like, no, I have to get on Drag Race before you do because you need to make my costumes and then you can go on. So yeah, and now that I've done the race, I'm like, thank God, Mandy, you can have your turn now. So I would love to see Mandy on the show.
Yes, all right. Moves for Drag Race Down Under. We'll have to start a hashtag or something. Right, well, Ms. Beverly, actually one more thing I was going to say before we get going. Have you gone and watched Muriel's wedding yet?
Every single person this morning in the interviews have been like, have you watched fucking Muriel's wedding? No. There is a reason. Before you scream at me in the Kira Surf Club, thank God we're in public, I'm going to do like a live reaction and recap of me watching it so everyone can watch me watch it for the first time. And it's good because Muriel's wedding is on Stan.
Beautiful. Love that.
I spoke with Susan from Stan, and she's like, I'm going to try and put Muriel's wedding in the like recommended under Drag Race. So
love that. Well, can't wait to see. Hopefully we will see you do that somewhere in Brisbane live. We can come along and watch.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, he'll let you go in a check, but tell me, was there anything else spectacular, wonderful we need to watch out for you coming up very soon?
We have the Drag Race Down Under season 1 and 2 tour happening, which is so exciting.
Yes.
Featuring all the sisters and the girls. I'm going to be bringing the stuff that I couldn't bring to the shows, like the fire and the whips and the performance. Like I'm just so keen to show off like what I love doing, which is just getting on a stage and fucking shit up.
Beautiful. Well, we will see that on the tour around the country. And of course, if you're in Brisbane, you're always at Fluffy and fucking everywhere at the moment.
Yeah,
so
every single Sunday, watch me at Cardland. And if not, follow the Instagram and I'll always shout out where I'm going.
Beautiful. All right. Well, make sure you follow Beverly Kills on all of her social medias. And of course, follow Q News on all of our social medias and press the buttons to subscribe to our videos where you will see us next week as we have another victory before we head into the grand finale of RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under. Who's going to take the crown? Is it going to be Queen Kong? Is it going to be Spanky Jackson? Is it going to be Molly Poppins? Or is it going to be Hannah Conda?
I think
Who knows?
Michelle's year to win. I think she could snatch a crown this year.
Who's that?
Michelle.
Yes, well, Michelle's got to win something soon, so let's see how we go. As always, I'm Michael James. Thank you so much for joining me, Beverly Kills. You have a fantastic afternoon.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Q News. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. As always, I'm Michael James. I will see you next week.